Good morning, ERUUF. Please rise in body and spirit and join us in singing our gathering hymn, number 67 in the gray hymnal. We sing now together. The lyrics will be on the screen. We sing now together our song of thanksgiving, rejoicing in goods which the ages have wrought, for life that enfolds us and helps and heals and holds us and leads beyond the goals which our forebears once sought. We sing of the prophets, the teachers, the dreamers, designers, creators, and workers and seers, our own lives expanding, our gratitude commending. Their deeds have made immortal their days and their years. We sing of community now in the making, in every far continent, region, and land, with those of all races, all times and names and places. We pledge ourselves in covenant firmly to stand. Please be seated.
It's the night before Christmas and all through the house not a creature is stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings are hung by the chimney with care, but hopes for Saint Nicholas I wish I could share. I am new to this world, I arrived here this morn, to this beautiful planet, though beat up and torn. I don't need a gift, need no more than I've got. Hear the unspoken wish from a tiny, tiny tot. I only want the world for Christmas, the blue-green, forever turning world for Christmas. Nothing more, nothing less. I want it for keeps, and I promise to share, so that everyone who wants can cuddle and care. I only want the world for Christmas, the blue-green, forever turning world for Christmas. To restore, to repossess, please make it last.
In gatherings, we are stirred like the leaves of the fall season, rustling around sacred trees, tossed hither and yon, until we come together to rest. Quietly, softly, we come to gather strength from each other. We come to give strength to each other. We come to ask for strength from the Spirit of all that is and is not.
When our hearts sing or when they frown, it is the way of compassion telling us to give. It is the way of peace telling us to share our gifts. For we are happiest and most powerful when love is made apparent in and through us.
Spirit of the circle that is love, as we twirl in this dance that is life, we give thanks for reminding us each day of our task of ministering to each other with a searching glance, a safe touch, a generous smile, a thoughtful word. Thank you for reminding us that we are always building our beloved comunidad.
Thank you for reminding us that through our covenant with you, we covenant with each other and are made whole. In gratitude, we celebrate with open hearts and minds. We discover who we are, separate from each other and within one another.
In this circle that holds all life, may we ever work toward widening its boundaries until there are none. Amen. Pause. Blessed be. We light our chalice this morning, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith.
May it be a flame that helps us remember to see miracles in daily moments. May this flame remind us that gratitude grows not through waiting for extraordinary gifts, but through noticing the ordinary blessings surrounding us daily.
May we be carriers of its radical light of radical welcome and warmth into wholeness, into liberation, into the one circle of life. Let us continue by lighting the Advent wreath on this, the first Sunday of Advent. We light the candle of hope. May the light remind us to celebrate all our UU sources. Good morning. And welcome to this Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship here in Durham, North Carolina. My name is Reverend Daniel Trollinger, Executive Minister here, and whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, whatever your race, your gender identities, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey and search for truth, meaning, and liberation, we welcome you. If you're visiting for the first or second time, we invite you to rise and body your spirit so we may give you a proper ERUUF welcome. Thank you for choosing to spend your Sunday morning with us. If you're watching on the live stream, introduce yourself in the chat. If you have children or youth with you, they're invited to attend one of our religious exploration classes that occur in the building next door as the children are sung out after the time for all ages. After the service, we invite you to the fellowship hall for tabling and coffee directly after service. If you have not already done so, please check e-news for all sorts of events and programs that are happening this December. And while you're there, click on that racial equity survey. This is the last week. The Triangle Vocal Project, led by Bill Adams, is providing special music today. They will have a benefit concert on December 14th at 4 p.m. here in the sanctuary. I have good news to share. Tomorrow, Reverend Jacqueline returns from sabbatical, and next Sunday will be her first Sunday back in service. Please come and welcome her back, along with about 27 new members who will be joining ERUUF next Sunday. Now would be a good time to silence any devices that you have on your person. And let's center ourselves, welcome the gifts of this day, and the time for all ages.
Invite our youngest and middleest and oldest, anybody who wants to come down to the chancel floor to get a better hearing of and view of the story. Come on down. And while the audience is gathering, the lantern that is going to go to the religious exploration classes after the Time for All Ages is being lit, so that the flame from this chalice will go with the children as they go to religious exploration. So this story is called Birdsong, and it's written and illustrated by Julie Flett. Spring. It's a mucky spring morning as we pack up the last of our belongings and leave our little home in the city by the sea. I'm going to miss my friends and cousins and aunties and uncles. I'm going to miss my bedroom window and the tree outside. Goodbye, tree friend, I whisper. We drive through the country and over the mountains, alongside rivers and fields of horses. We stop to see a lone coyote crossing the road. Our new home sits on a hill overlooking a field, and past it, another home. In that home lives an older woman named Agnes. The field is covered in snowdrops. Our new home has 2 trees outside and creaky stairs inside. My new room has a shelf for books and pictures and a desk for drawing. But I don't feel like drawing. My hands are cold. My mum and I bundle up together under the covers in our new home in the country, far away from the sea. How many of you have ever moved to a new home? Yep, and if you look around, you see that happens to grown-ups too. Summer. Our new home hums with peeps and whistles and ribbits and chirps. I watch Agnes, our neighbor, working on something in her yard. Why don't you visit her, Katharina? My mum says. I nod. Okay. I take our dog, Oho, with me. Oho means owl in Cree. Hello, Agnes, I say. You must be Katharina, she says. Woof, Oho barks. Your mum has told me all about you, Agnes says. She says you love to draw. I do. Agnes loves to make things out of clay. She shows us around her yard. There are berries and flowers and so many of her clay things. They look like the branches and birds and flowers. Visit me again soon, Katharina, Agnes says with a smile. I smile back and give her a big wave. I can't wait to go home and start drawing. Fall. I do visit Agnes again, and again, and again. Agnes digs in her garden. I help by gathering extra leaves that'll get mixed into the soil. The worms love this. It's getting cold and windy and creaky. Agnes says she's getting creaky too. Would you like to see what I'm working on, Katharina? She asks. I'd like that, I say. Agnes is working on a pot that's round and bright. She tells me about waxing and waning moons. I tell her about Cree seasons. This month is called Pimi Hawip Pimihaweepism, the migrating moon. Here comes the moon and 2 shiny seagulls. And there go the geese. Winter. It's Oho's first snow. We toboggan until my snowsuit is soggy and Oho is covered in tiny snowballs. After, we warm up with Mum by the fire and then help her finish making salmon stew to share with Agnes. Agnes hasn't been out as much and needs a little help over the winter. She likes the salmon stew. Her daughter, who has come to stay for a while, likes it too. Agnes sends me home with a cup full of bulbs, snowdrop bulbs to plant in the field next autumn. They look like tiny moons. They give me more ideas for pictures. My fingers itch in my mittens. Spring. Agnes has grown weaker over the winter. Still, from her bed we can hear the spring birds singing their songs and the tickle of the branches against her window. We listen to the sounds together. The snowdrops are peeking out. I wish Agnes could see them. I have an idea. I run home and gather up all my drawings. Agnes's daughter meets me at the door, and we take 2 ladders from the closet. When we're done, Agnes says, it's like a poem for her heart. Then I sit with Agnes and talk about making things, mucky things, and things with string and song and paper and words. And then we sit quietly together on Agnes's bed until it's time to say goodbye. I leave with an ache in my heart, but I'm so glad to know my friend Agnes. Hello, Mom. Hello, Oho. Hello, home, with 2 trees and creaky stairs. Later that night, Aiki Pism, the frog moon, is full. My mum and I bundle up together in our home. My hands feel warm and the covers feel soft. And I think of my friend until I fall asleep. And that's the story. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming down. So kids are going to go to religious exploration, and we will take a minute to greet our neighbor. Yep. Oh, we'll sing them out. That's right. Yep. Sing them out.
Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. We believe in 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 peace, salam, shalom. Please take a few minutes to turn and greet those around you.
Good morning. 2 weeks ago, ERUUF sponsored an immigration justice weekend that addressed the roots of migration, the situation in the United States, and we also shared ways for people to become involved. A key part of this weekend was played by Crystal Sol, a human rights organization working in El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. If you attended any of the workshops or listened to René Valiente's powerful sermon from the pulpit that Sunday, you heard about the important work that they are doing. The Crystal Sol team had just come from DC, where they released a report, "You Have Arrived in Hell," about the horrific conditions of the 252 Venezuelans who were deported by our government and sent to prison in El Salvador. This report documented how our taxpayer dollars are paying for torture and has led to 43 members of Congress calling for an official inquiry. You also heard about how multiple Crystal Sol staff have been imprisoned in El Salvador because of their efforts to fight corruption in the country. One of these imprisoned staff members, Ruth Lopez, just received an international award as an outstanding human rights lawyer. You heard how René and his family, who had always chosen to stay and fight in El Salvador, were involuntarily forced to migrate to Guatemala, along with the rest of the Crystal Sol staff, to ensure that they could continue to do this work. Little did we know how timely this weekend would be. 2 days later, ICE and Customs Border Control arrived in the Durham area. They arrested people outside of a daycare and a shopping center. Immigrant families went into lockdown mode and stopped going to work and stopped sending their kids to school. A friend of ours who was adopted from Guatemala as a baby and has lived almost his 23-plus years here as a citizen was pulled over by ICE after leaving his job at RDU. His crime? The color of his skin and his facial structure. A significant aside here, I'd like to acknowledge that this is also the crime that our African American friends and neighbors have been accused of for centuries. How did Durham respond to this authoritarian overreach? On Monday evening, state organizations heard that ICE would be coming to the Triangle area. Within 24 hours, a collection of local organizations had pulled together over 1,500 volunteers, including many from ERUUF. If you were involved in this effort, please raise your hands. Thank you. The next day, Wednesday morning, there were volunteers at the vast majority of schools in Durham, waving and smiling and holding signs of welcome in both English and Spanish. People were present at bus stops to greet students getting on or off the bus and to make sure that there were eyes in case ICE followed them home. Over the next week, hundreds of volunteers packaged and made 3 different deliveries of healthy and culturally appropriate foods to over 2,000 families. I am so thankful and proud to be part of a community that can make things like this happen. And these past 2 weeks have brought home a visceral understanding of the things that authoritarianism requires to survive. It requires darkness and confusion. It requires fear and mistrust. Durham responded by shining a light on what was happening and by, in very practical ways, demonstrating love, care, and a most stubborn compassion. Crystal Sol is doing this work of fighting authoritarianism in Central America, but under much more challenging conditions. They are raising the light of truth, and they're documenting abuses. They are educating people about their rights and providing support to communities that are banding together to care for each other. And they are doing this work under constant threat. They are literally laying their lives on the line. On behalf of the Immigration Justice Group, we are so pleased that Crystal Saul will be receiving the donations from today's Generosity Sunday. Later in the service, we ask you to donate generously to support their vital work.
Please join me now in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Spirit of life, we welcome the gifts of this day and lift up our joys and concerns. We celebrate the joy of being in community, of connection and reconnection, the opportunity to learn and grow with one another on the spiritual journey. We lift up all those celebrating joys and milestones in life at this time. As a people who care for one another, we also lift up our prayers and concerns. We hold in our hearts all those in our community and our own families who suffer, who mourn, who face the everyday difficulties of life. May they know comfort and support in all ways. We hold in our hearts all children everywhere, that they may know care, love, and belonging. In the spirit of unity, we lift up all of our prayers and blessings. And let us breathe in peace and breathe out love and honor this moment in silence. Now let us breathe together, eyes lowered or closed. I invite you to be here in this moment and find your center. Take a comfortable breath. Reflect back on your life, whether in the past year or some time ago. Think of a story from your own journey that shaped who you are today. This may be something simple or maybe a major event. Let it come forward in a natural way and meet it with grace. Feel and find the gift in this story, and imagine opening that gift. What does it bring you today? To acknowledge, to appreciate, to remember, to honor. In a spirit of compassion, give thanks for this story and everything that has brought you to this moment. Breathe that compassion and awareness into your whole body. And as you exhale, send your love and appreciation out to the whole world. Beyond time and space, in this moment, remembering, appreciating, acknowledging. When that feels complete, bring your attention back to today, to this time and place. May we remember the story of everything that has guided our way, and together walk each other home. May it be so.
meditation hymn is gathered here at 389 in your gray hymnal. The lyrics will be on the screen. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near.
Holidays are often a time when family and friends recall past times, a memory of a shared experience. This can be a tired old story that everyone has heard 100 times, or even a comic recollection of a mishap. This week, I was speaking to one of my daughters about a past Thanksgiving where I was trying to prepare a full dinner and everything was ready to go. So I made a decision to speed up a process in creating mashed potatoes. I ended up putting those potatoes in a blender, which whipped them up good, too good. So if you don't know this already, this ends up creating potato glue, which is not lumpy, but not very tasty. I'm sure all of you have a version of a holiday story where things may not have gone according to plan. Whether Thanksgiving weekend or the celebrations that await in the month of December, the sharing of stories provides an opportunity to connect with one another in special ways. Stories give us a sense of belonging, being wanted, needed, and heard. Stories are a universal language that transcends borders, language, and generations, engaging us through emotions so we can share passions, sadness, hardships, joys, meaning, and purpose. Stories help us understand ourselves and each other. Sharing stories is a thread that connects us all, reminding us of our shared humanity. And listening is a core part of any story. What happens when we slow down and listen, really listen to one another, to life? Listening opens the door to possibility, connection, and even transformation. Have you ever had the chance to speak with a good friend you haven't seen in a long time? There's the catching up. How you doing? What's going on now? And then there may be trading stories from a past time. Hey, do you remember when we... Then there comes a point, so how are you really doing? For people we care about, this question is often present, even if we never say it directly. And listening, whether it's about daily routines or past memories, is a way we can express this care. Listening, really listening, can be a powerful act of appreciation. I recently led a workshop where I offered a simple practice in listening. The group sorted into pairs and to share about an exercise we had just created together. One person would speak and the other person would listen without asking questions, giving feedback, or interrupting. Then the roles switched. When we debriefed as a group, I was surprised when multiple people revealed how hard it was to listen in this way. That they wanted to add something more, even a word of encouragement, or to ask questions. The point of the exercise was to isolate the act of listening without adding ourselves to the story. What we want to know about, how we felt about it, our opinion on any side of it. just listening without adding. This is one way to practice listening. Now, extrapolating outside of the workshop setting, what if listening without adding allowed a greater sense of acknowledgement, acceptance, and appreciation for what was being shared just as it is? The other side of the coin, though, is that sometimes what is said and what is heard are not the same. Listening is a process that has many layers, so let's look at some different ways to really listen. In 1957, psychologists Carl Rogers and Richard Farson wrote an influential book called Active Listening. In their definition, active listening is a call to be present and create space to simply communicate, "I hear you." Active listening involves fully focusing on the speaker to understand their words and feelings, demonstrating comprehension through paraphrasing and questions. Deep listening builds on this by going further, listening for the unspoken emotions and deeper meaning, and also includes a level of self-reflection to connect more empathetically. While active listening focuses on the speaker, deep listening involves listening with the mind and the heart, paying attention to the self as well as the other person. Deep listening looks for the deeper, often unspoken meaning, emotions, and intentions behind the words. It is more contemplative and involves tuning into your own biases and feelings as well. Another type of listening to put on the table is appreciative listening, which is listening for pleasure, enjoyment, or personal fulfillment, rather than information. It involves focusing on sounds, messages, and experiences that you personally appreciate, such as listening to music or poetry or an engaging speech. This could be listening to your favorite song on the radio while driving, attending a speech or sermon, or listening to a TED Talk to feel motivated and inspired by the speaker's message. This could be tuning into a guided meditation or listening to nature sounds for their calming effect. This could be listening to a play, a work of poetry, or even a television show for entertainment. There are benefits to all types of listening. Today, we briefly reviewed 3 ways to explore listening, which is a process we engage in every day, but usually unconsciously. Clarissa Pinkola Estes writes, "Stories are medicine. They have such power, they do not require that we do, be, act anything. We need only listen." On the spiritual journey, it is helpful to notice there are multiple dynamics involved in what we are paying attention to or not, what we are present to or not in any given situation. To practice listening more fully requires some intentionality. We must bring something forward to connect, to care, and appreciate what's being offered. Recently, I was listening to someone talk about learning a new language in order to be able to connect with families and friends who live in a different country and culture. The catch, though, is to their learning processes, they had no goals. They were content with picking up what they could without making it into something to be achieved. It was like approaching the task of learning a new language with mindful awareness, open-ended, not limited by self-imposed agenda. So this gave me pause. I could recognize how much of what I do has some level of goal attached to it. It made me wonder about the impact of this goal framing. Even if it wasn't a formal goal, there would be an intention or a desired outcome. So listening to this personal story of someone touched something in me, a place that had something to learn, another way of seeing the world. This is one of the values of stories, providing different perspectives which allow us to listen and see life in new ways. In our time of prayer and meditation this morning, you were invited to recall a story from your own journey that shaped who you are today. This could be something or someone who impacted your life, and then find the gift in that story to acknowledge, appreciate, remember. It was a brief way to listen to your own story as an act of appreciation and to feel this in the body. We all have a story of self. What's utterly unique about us is not the categories we belong to. What's unique to us is our own journey of learning to be a full human being. And these journeys have challenges, obstacles, crises. Because of our lived experience, we have lessons to share in our stories. In a sense, we all walk around with a text from which to teach, the text of our own lives. The second story is the story of us. Together, what experiences and values do we share as a community that call us to what we are called to together? What is it about our experience of faith, the pain of the world, and the hopefulness of the world that we share in words and stories? Faith traditions as a community are grand stories of us. They teach us how to build connections and be an us. And finally, now there's the story of now, the fierce urgency of now. The story of now is realizing after sharing values and hopes that the world out there is not as it ought to be. And that's a challenge to us. We need to appreciate the challenge and the conflict between the values we wish the world lives by and the values it actually does. This incongruence creates a tension, and it forces upon us a consideration of a choice. What do we do about that? We're called to answer that question in a spirit of hope. Our goal is to meet this challenge, to seize this hope, and turn it into concrete action. After developing stories of self, then we work on building relationships, which forms the story of us. From there, we turn to strategizing, to action, working together to achieve a common purpose, learning to experience hope. That's the story of now. In October, a team from ERUUF traveled to Tulsa, Oklahoma to visit the largest UU congregation in this country, All Souls UU. Reverend Jacqueline, myself, Reverend Jim, and Michael Gilbert Singletary were invited to meet with members of their very large staff. We attended a new member dinner, staff meetings, and even participated in Sunday worship. This was a great learning opportunity to see how a much larger congregation functions at the macro level of vision and organizational leadership, and at the micro level of weekly meetings and one-on-one conversations. We listened, asked questions, and engaged fully in this learning opportunity in order to bring new perspectives back here to this fellowship. This allowed us to see ourselves and appreciate our community in a whole new way. We are doing so many things well here right now, and yet there's also the opportunity to expand our capacity for growth and transformation. Along the way, we really listened to one another deeply, both what we noticed and experienced in Tulsa, and in sharing about what we know about life here in this community. This listening and learning trip made a big impact on how we understood one another as colleagues, as people on a shared journey, and as people serving something much larger than ourselves. Whether it's active listening, deep listening, or appreciative listening, There's incredible value in allowing ourselves to open to the stories of those around us. And there's also great value in learning to listen collectively. We talk frequently in this space about living our values and creating beloved community. Okay, so what does that actually mean? How do we know when this is happening? Earlier in 2025, the Board Governance Committee worked with an outside consulting firm to review our policies through a racial equity lens. What came out of this process was a broader report, not just about policies, but our DEI work in general. Several ERUUF leadership teams provided thoughtful feedback on this study, and we will be exploring ways to integrate implementation in a fashion congruent with the ongoing work of the Multicultural Team, Theory of Change Committee, Board, and many shared ministry teams. One step you could take today to help with this process and lean into today's theme of listening is to go back to your email inbox and look at the recent e-news. Find the article about the REI survey and fill this out. This will empower the Theory of Change Committee to listen more fully to the collective community at this moment in our growth. The power of stories to influence our world is undeniable. It's a force that unites us, challenges us, and drives us to change. To respect its power is to recognize its potential for both good and ill. As consumers and creators of stories, let us use this remarkable gift wisely, shaping a world that reflects the best of humanity, honors our diversity, and inspires positive change for generations to come. Remember, stories invite listening. Are we paying attention to the stories we share and the stories of who we are in the world at this time? When listening space is created for others to talk and tell their story, there is potential for beautiful things to transpire, such as human connectivity, affirmation, new direction, perspectives, peace, and healing. The more deeply we give of ourselves as listeners, the more deeply the other person will be willing to share and connect with us. It is in that place of greater connection and vulnerability that true collaboration takes place. In closing, listen to this quote from youth poet laureate Rimmel Kamran. The power of story rests in the heart of vulnerability and community. Each individual bears a story aching to be heard and to be recognized. Our stories are revelations of our human experiences. They are woven with the threads of pain, love, fear, and grief. Stories are powerful because they foster connection and plant the seeds for community to blossom. Stories allow us to recognize how similar we all are at the most fundamental level of life. Despite differences in race, faith, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, we are all one. She continues, we are all united by our common and shared experiences of life. I believe that stories also challenge us to practice empathy and be willing to sharpen and mold our perspectives as we listen to others' experiences. Our own stories and the stories of others are windows to recognizing how humanity is both broken and imperfect. But through taking the time to engage in conversation with one another and listening to each other's voices and calls for justice, we can mend humanity's wounds and create something beautiful. May it be so. It is now time for the offering. We weave the fabric of beloved community when we draw our circle ever wider and cultivate hearts of generosity as practice. Our collection this morning goes for Justice Giving to the immigration rights group Christosol to support their dedicated efforts in defending human rights and promoting the democratic rule of law in Central America. As the greeters come forward, if you have something tangible, place it in the pouches, or take your device, point at the QR code, and go to the giving portal. Thank you.
Spin, dreidel, dreidel, spin, dreidel, dreidel, spin, spin, little dreidel, spin, spin, dreidel, dreidel, spin, little dreidel, spin, this Hanukkah night. Spin, spin, light up the candles, one on the first night, two the second light up, spin, light up the candles, every night we light one more. Light up, spin, light, spin, candles, one on the first night, two the second light up, spin, light, spin, the candles, every night we light this Hanukkah night up, spin, light, spin, the candles, one on the first night, two the second light up, spin, light, spin, the candles, every night we light this Hanukkah night,
We give thanks for all the many gifts that support the building of this beloved community. Pam will now lead us in our closing hymn.
Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing For the Earth Forever Turning, number 163 in the gray hymnal.
We, 'cause 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 we, 'cause
If you have a moment to pause for some appreciative listening, after the closing words, the Triangle Vocal Project will share a choral postlude. If you need to move on, please do so mindfully. Our closing words come from Christine Walters Paintner. Spirit of generosity, as we awaken each morning, help us to remember this day as a gift, this breath is grace, this life a wonder. Remind us with every flower we see, every act of kindness, every moment of connection, to whisper, thank you. Go in peace, go in love.
La da 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 dum bum 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 bum
From every way.